Coach, you talk about earning wins in the Big 12 this week. What goes into a win like this one today, and even a series win at that, too?
Playing good baseball, pitching, playing defense, putting together good at-bats. Against a guy like Jerron, you really got to do a really good job extending at-bats. And, it takes all phases. You got to definitely do the best you can to extend innings and play baseball the right way.
You talk about the pitching coach. Your lefties did a great job all weekend, it seemed like. And is this group of left-handers pretty, stand up pretty well against some of the other top, left-handed pitching staffs you've had?
Oh, I don't know. I was talking to somebody before the game, and we were talking about Mashinsky and Bonin, and even though Bonin's right-handed, and talking about a guy that's in the world champions bullpen. So I don't want to put them on that pedestal right now. I do think they like playing. I do think they like executing pitches. But again, you're talking about a guy with a 60 or 70 breaking ball, in the past, and Johnny Droz, for whatever he was back in the day, couldn't hit a ball at the infield on him. And so we've had some really good ones. You think of golly, Chris Sadberry. It's been a long time, but really special. And so, they're a humble group. They like pitching. And again, I think Tabor's going to be really special someday, but he's not in that category yet.
Coach, there was that.
Got me thinking about left-handers. We got some good ones. Gingrey. Lord.
Coach, there was that extensive delay. I think it was in between the 6th and 7th inning. What went on there with your discussion with the umpires?
Yeah, I'll just keep that between us.
Ryan's in the bottom of the 5th. What does that say about your offense, making you go through 3 pitchers?
Yeah, we did extend some at bats there, and I think we did get an extra out in there. I think they had to get at least 4 outs in the inning, which happens. And if they make the play, again, like it could be a totally different inning, but we took advantage of it. And Green had a big swing. Bazell had a big at-bat to set it up, so did Hester and Harrelson, I'm sure. And, you hit a ball out with a south wind here, to right field, you're doing something. And so, it was blowing out to left, but to right, you had to really backspin one, and he definitely did.
Coach, what about the maturity of Tracer Lopez, his approach to the plate, and the quality of defense he's been playing of late?
Yeah, he likes playing. Pretty cool. You really think about it. A kid could be playing high school baseball right now, and we've got 2 of those guys. And I've said it before. Tracer's played a lot of baseball. There's a lot of people sitting on the couch or sitting in the boat or filling deer blinds or something during that pandemic, and this kid was playing baseball every day. And you can see that. You can see that he jumped some people.
And how about Harrelson, another freshman that seemed like he's continued to give you a pretty good boost up there? Yeah,
Gage is, he's a above average runner, really good bat-to-ball skills, and again, a kid is very competitive, comes from a great high school. They do a lot of winning, and you can see, he plays for keeps, no doubt about it.
And on top of that, Damian Bravo's had a heck of a week, too. What's gone into his preparation and having all these home runs this week?
Damian's, the cool thing about what you just asked is you just set it up for him. He prepares the same way, whether he's in there or whether he's not in there, whether he had a good day or a bad day. And so now you're talking about a guy that's getting close to being a really good baseball player when you do that. And that's him. He's known there's going to be an opportunity. Obviously, an injury had to happen to create it. But now he's getting it and he's doing something with it. And, he's no big surprise today. He ran a ball at the ballpark. Not any surprise to anybody in our dugout.
Coach, you talk about it a lot that you have a lot of baseball players, and when Damian was in here, and about Tracer playing all through the pandemic, when Damian was in here, we asked him about closing, he said, I'll do whatever they ask, I just want to be on the field. He
Sure.
talked about his experience in the outfield or first base and the things he's learned since he's been here. Is that what you're looking for in these guys? Just a guy that just hungry to play?
Oh, I mean, that's where it starts. I mean, I think if you get guys that can, that can play the game, then I think that's definitely where it starts. And obviously, you start putting together a whole roster, you gotta have just some different things in there. But if you just had one thing about each guy, and you said they're a baseball player, whether they're a pitcher or a hitter, we'd probably sign up for it.
Anything else for Coach?
One more thing, Austin Green, you mentioned it, the power that it took to hit a ball out there.
Yeah.
Is his power play more from the left side than the right, or is it kind of both, equal?
I tell you, I mean, the guys he played for, over at Weatherford, I mean, they'll basically say, so he hit last year left-handed the whole year. And the only reason was shoulder was he had something was bothering him. And, but they always said, hey, there's very few switch hitters that they've had are as good from the right side as they are from the left side. And we've seen that. I mean, you don't get as many at-bats over there, but you flip him around there. Did it last weekend. They flipped him around. He ran a ball out opposite field, hit a 3-run home run. And so it's in there. I mean, he put on quite a show last year in the Region 5 tournament down in Midland. I don't know how many games he played, but he ran some balls out of there. I mean, which is not like hitting one out of here with the wind blowing in from right, but and he's a kid that's always hit, and when you backspin it, and so I would say he's a guy you want to keep switch hitting, right?
I've wondered, Coach, if he was a guy you knew about and you guys had seen him before, or if he's somebody maybe you saw through watching Ben play.
So sitting around the house during the pandemic, I think I came across him, and it was more below on the mound. Came across it on a computer because you couldn't be on the road, and we talked about it. We're like, just let him. We talked to Weatherford, and he was already set up to go there, I think, and followed him that year, and he had a really good year that year, and we had a pretty good second baseman ourselves, and so wasn't really a need at the time. And then last year, obviously with Ben over there, Ben sandlogged him yesterday, won 2-1. Pretty cool. So.
Esther, who would like to ask the first question for one?
We talked about how competitive these two teams normally are. What's it like to run rule them in a series finale?
I mean, that's a good team they got over there. It's always, a super competitive game. But, luckily the ball fell our way and we ended up with more hits. So.
It was fun. I mean, this is the first time I've ever been a part of this series, and coming out after they punched us in the face yesterday, and I was getting a punch back and pretty much pounding a lead arm like that guy right there. That was really fun. That's all I can say about it.
That was kind of my question, though, in like part two of a conversation of MLB prospect, you're working walks, multi-hit game. I mean, what did you see from him out there, and why were you guys so successful?
I mean, that's an elite arm right there. He's really good, but I think our hitters are just as good, and we're going to go up there and compete no matter who you are, and grind them out, draw walks, hit the ball, and then Austin's going to come up and pound the ball 50 feet over the fence. We're all going to go crazy and go on with life.
Speaking of Austin, can you take us through hitting that ball to right field?
Yeah, helps, like I said last time, this lineup, up and down, talent all the way around. 3 really competitive at-bats before me, gets the bases loaded. Obviously, like he was talking about, a lead arm on the mound. Really good slider, sat slider, got one up in the zone, put a good swing on it.
Guys, obviously it was got a little chippy out there, both sides, a little bit of trash talking, emotional game. It felt like. I mean, how do you kind of describe the intensity of this one?
It was an intense game. I mean, we can't really go. I don't want to go too deep into it. Just don't want to say something I shouldn't. But yeah, you could definitely feel it. It was really fun. It was really, yeah. So that's all I'm gonna say on it.
kind of like what he said, like, you know, two really competitive teams that, you know, that's how good teams play. They play with emotion, they play, you know, with passion. That's what happens when you get two really passionate teams.
Nelson, what pitch was it that you hit out?
Slider. Yes, sir.
You guys
Well,
get, sorry,
go
go ahead. When you guys get those bats rolling like that, I mean, is this offense just kind of get one of those zones where you just feel unstoppable? I mean, it felt like it's going to be 2 outs forever today.
Oh yeah. This is the best group of hitters I've ever been a part of. Yeah, and when every single one of us is up there swinging the bat hot like that, like you don't think anybody's gonna get out, and you don't want to make an out because you know how good you are and you know how good everyone behind you is, and so you just want to pass it to the next guy and let him keep going. Like I don't think there's an arm that can beat us in the country.
I'm wondering, just perspective as hitters, like Huddy had a 9-pitch walk, Tracer struck out in a 10-pitch AB. Like as a hitter, kind of putting yourself in their shoes, do you walk back and say, hey, that was still productive when you have something like that competitive?
I mean, yeah, like you want to go back and tell yourself that, but still, like in Tracer's case, like you're still gonna be frustrated because you worked and had such a good at bat, and for it to go in like that, like it's still disappointing. But yeah, when you're doing that and seeing pitches, especially against that guy right there and running his pitch count up, yeah, of course it's productive. Do you want it to go a different way? Of course, but yeah, I would tell myself it's a productive at bat, but I'd also still be a little disappointed that it finished like that.
10 runs in the 5th inning, like you said, this is a really good offensive team. How does it feel to kind of see that come to fruition of the hard work being put into it? How does it feel to see it pay off?
I mean, it's awesome to see stuff like that happen. Just, you have guys, young guys and old guys up and down the lineup who've worked every day, all fall and spring, to get where we are right now. And so all of that hard work is gonna pay off, especially when you're facing a guy like that. It doesn't matter who we're facing. Like, as long as we go up there with our approach and put good APs together, like, that's what it's gonna look like all the time.
You know, a couple of weeks ago, you talked about Brecht's velo, when he was hitting 101. What was, and you've called Juwan an elite arm. What was the most impressive element of his stuff?
His off-speed pitches, his slider and breaking ball were both really, really hard to pick up out of the hand. His fastball was good, but it's nothing, like, it was, threw it hard, but it wasn't like anything crazy there. But the slider and the breaking ball, threw them both really hard, threw them both with really tight spin. They were both hard to pick up out of the hand. And so he started to rely on it a little more, and so it was getting a little more predictable to kind of figure out what pitch he was going to throw, and I think that's what led to us having some success against him.
Considering y'all have so many tough teams at the front part of the Big 12 schedule, with Texas coming up and TCU and Oklahoma, Stanford mixed in there, how big is it to get a series win against one of the other top teams?
It's huge. I mean, that right there is a really, really good team. And Coach Tadlock talked to us last night and was telling us that we had to come out today and championship teams win on Sundays. You win your series on Sundays or you sweep on Sundays. And so that's what we came out with, the mindset of, if we want to be a championship team, we got to go out and win on Sunday. And especially against their best guy too. Like, we got to walk out there and play good and beat their best guy. And that's, I think, exactly what we did.
Were y'all aware, or since you mentioned that, were y'all aware, as anybody talked about winning on Sunday was a big problem for this team last year? Because it seemed like there are a lot of weekends in Big 12 play, Tech would win Friday, Saturday, and then lose on Sunday. Hasn't really been, of course, you guys are new to it. So.
Yeah. I hadn't really heard a lot about it, but I don't know.
I don't want to hammer the comparison too much, just asking kind of about your prep. When you guys are, scouting teams, that kind of stuff, you come in with an idea of the stuff of a guy like this. I was looking back at the Iowa game against Brecht. You had 5 base runners in the first 3 innings, had some hits right off the bat, including you, Nolan, and today you load the bases on him in the first inning. Does that build your confidence, or is it kind of just confirming, hey, like, this is what we saw and we know that we can hang with it?
Yeah, definitely as a confidence builder to load the bases on that guy in the first inning, because that's all you hear about is when you're getting prepped for people like that, you're like, oh, this guy's going to be a first-round draft pick. Oh, he's really good, all that stuff. But, like, you want to walk out there and you want to say, hey, we're really good. We're just as good as this guy. And so then when you walk out there and you load the bases against him in the first inning, I know Ty grounded into a double play, but still, like, that backs up your confidence of, hey, we're just as good as this guy and we can compete with him. Like, he's not going to beat us like that.
All right, guys, let's let these two